I had been laboring for so long at this point. I was like, when is this going to happen? And I kept saying, I'm like, I'm so close. I have to be so close because I've been in this so many hours now that I'm going to not get the epidural because at this point I've gone this far. So like I should be good. So that was kind of my thinking with it, is that I'd already gone so far. I'm not going to get it now because I can't believe that I've been capable of doing this and how strong I am and what I've put myself through. Like I really was like, dang, I did not know that I had this in me. But I was so determined. I was so determined to have her naturally. I was making so much sound because like you have to make, for me, I had to make sound to release the intensity of the pain. What are you doing? Are you hitting mommy? Are you hitting mommy? There was one point where nurses ran in because they thought I was delivering. And my mom was like, no, she's just really going through it. In between contractions, you can like catch your breath and be like totally fine. I wasn't even getting a break. Sometimes it was only 30 seconds apart and I was like, I'm not getting any kind of break to like rest in between. So like that was really, really, really hard. You have to move around to like help your body progress and stuff, especially like during contractions. To move through a contraction, like to have any movement in my body was like awful. I really struggled with that because I knew that it would help me. I just physically was literally just shutting down. So she's like, let's try some different positions. So I got on hands and knees, and this is when back labor started. I remember being on all fours and the pressure of the concrete floors like against my body literally made me feel like I'm honestly, I'm not saying this to like scare anyone or like be dramatic about it, but I felt like my bones like in my hips and in my back were being shattered. That was like next level, took me through the roof. Once again, really, 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 really bad. And then upped my Pitocin a little bit more. So, and I had still not had an epidural at this point, and I was like well into a couple of days of labor. And since the contractions were so close together, I couldn't even get myself in a new position quick enough before one came, and it was like, oh my gosh. So, like I said, I'd been breathing like really like heavily and loud to like release the intensity of the pain, which was like a really, really great tool. And then on this day on Friday, I got to the point where I was in so much agony that I couldn't even make a sound to breathe. Like I couldn't even use any energy that I had to breathe because it took too much energy, if that makes any sense. It was at the point where I was like, and you're supposed to breathe like through these things, which I had been doing, but like I couldn't even get myself to like breathe anymore. This is when it kind of got scary. My mom and Clark were just like, oh my God. I think they were all like, please get the freaking epidural. So I ended up doing the drip medicine again. I forget when this all happened, but I did it one more time to get some kind of relief. And I think it was on it was on Friday at some point. So then a few hours later, I got checked and I was at a 5. I was at a 5. I'm like, what in the world? Like I've been going through all this and I'm literally at a 5. Someone has to be joking. 30 hours into labor at this point, I'm like, I have to be close. There's no way that I'm not close right now. So all of this could be avoided if you get the epidural early. So that's why I don't feel like bad sharing all this, because you don't know what you don't know. And if I would have known it would have been this long, I would have got it earlier, but I did not know that. And I thought I was so close. So I just kept being strong, and I was determined I was going to have this baby without it. So then a few hours later, my midwife came in and she's like, so here are all your options again. And she was so patient, so supportive. Like literally anywhere else they would have been like, you're having a C-section now because your time is like run. It's up. Your time is up. Literally, that would be a very common thing to have happen here in the States, at least. So she was like, I can break your water if you want me to break your water. And I was like, dang, I've heard that's like so intense. And I'd already gone through so many things, so many different interventions already that I did not want. And I was like, oh, I know that can be like super painful when that happens too, like after your water is broken. And she's like, but you could progress quickly or not. She's like, it totally up to you. And she was so sweet, just being so patient with me, giving me all the information that I needed so I could make the decision. And she's like, I'll literally do whatever you want me to do. I'm not here to force you to do anything. Finally, I got to the point where I was like, girl, just break my water. I don't care at this point. I need this baby out of my body. Do whatever you need to do. That's like the mental state I was in. Eyes rolling back in my head, about to pass out from the pain. So yeah, she ended up doing that around like 11 or something like that. And then I got checked 2 hours later and I was at an 8. So I was finally at an 8. But at this point, I was done. I was so done. I thought that I was going to be like ready to push, honestly, when she checked me this time. And I was not. I was just at an 8, which it can happen very quickly. You can go from an 8 to a 10 in 5 minutes, or it could be hours. And my body was just so slow at progressing because honestly, my body wasn't ready to have her. That's kind of like the summary of all this. My body was not ready, but we were already in this thing. So yeah, around 1 p.m. I was screaming and yelling and crying and begging for the epidural. I was so done. And I know some people were like, who cares? It's not failing. It's not, but I just really had worked so hard. Like, not just the idea of like not wanting it for all the reasons that I have, but I had just been through so much since that Wednesday. I can't go through much more. It was just a lot. So at 1 p.m., I'm like screaming, crying, begging for the epidural. I'm like, I literally can't have one more contraction without the epidural. Like, I cannot do it. Like, get the person in here now.
I'm fearless and excited to welcome my baby safely to earth. I need them to come right now. My body is strong. I can't do one more of those here.
So everyone like ran and like scrambled because they had been seeing me since Wednesday. They knew I was going through it. So finally, that beautiful man walks into my life and he was like, oh wow. He saw the condition that I was in and like knew how long I'd been laboring without it. He's like, I have to go get the consent papers. Is that okay? Like, or do you want to verbally consent? And I was like, there are witnesses. I verbally consent. Please, just do it. Just do it. And he's like, girl, I got you. That man took 2 minutes. That thing was in me. I felt like I was more afraid of the epidural than having a baby come out of my body initially. And then at this point, I've never been less afraid of anything in my entire life. He was so sweet and so kind and just like so quick and efficient and good at his job. He put that thing in and I wanted to just kiss him on the face. So about like 20 minutes into me having this, I'm still like, still having contractions. And I was like, I'll be the person that this doesn't freaking work for. Like, watch that be the situation. It just took like 20, 25 minutes for it to kick in for me, unfortunately. But it did kick in and it was the most blissful feeling of my entire life.
All right, Barty.
I really need to change my last name so we all have the same last name.
So what's going on? The people want to know. Did
Okay.
you have a baby yet?
No.
Why not?
35 hours into labor. I got the epi. I'm nummy. And I'm ready.
Do you feel better?
Yeah. I was done.
What was the worst part about the pain you're experiencing?
The pain of it. It was relentless. Constant.
Are you in any pain
I hit my
now?
wall. I hit my wall.
Are you in any pain now?
I was able to function and breathe and sit there and rest and be like, whoa, oh my God, what just happened? Nurses were coming in, I was like, hi, and they're like, and I'm like, oh, I got the epidural, and they're like, hi, okay. I think God only knows what happened or what I said to people, or I don't remember looking anyone in the eye my entire labor because I was like so in the zone. I think everyone was like relieved because everyone was like worried, scared, stressed for me because they had to watch me. I was the one freaking going through it, but they had to watch me go through this. And for my mom and my husband, they were so good at not letting me know. They were just, like I knew, but they were very supportive and very like subtle. And that was really helpful because after the fact, they were like, oh my God. They both were in tears a lot of the time because it was so hard for them to watch me in so much pain and they couldn't do anything for me. Yeah, I was 35 hours into labor before I got the epidural. So yeah, I was done. I was over it. I was maxed out, way past my capacity. And this is coming from someone who really felt so strongly about it. So that's why I think that sharing my story, hopefully someone can relate in some way or something. Because again, some people like want it as soon as they go in. That's fine. Some people don't want it at all. Some people don't want it and then they end up getting it. This is just my story that I'm learning just to own. And I mean, I got this beautiful, perfect creature out of. Mwah. It was 35 or 36 hours into labor. I think 36 before I got the epidural. I don't remember. And yeah, so the next couple hours like went by really fast. And at hour 40 of labor, my midwife checks me to see where I'm at. She starts tearing up and crying, really emotionally moved. I thought something happened right before she came into my room that she was processing. I was like, are you okay? Like, what's wrong? And she was like, you're ready. You're ready. You're ready to push. Makes me emotional. And I start getting teary-eyed. I'm like, oh, you're moved like this because I'm ready to have my baby? Like, that's so sweet. And yeah, super, super emotional. Let's start doing some practice pushes. I had been in, oh, she's filling her diaper right now. I'd been in the hospital since Wednesday afternoon, and the most beautiful, beautiful sunset that I've ever seen in my life was so insanely beautiful and intense. And it was right at the time that I was ready to push. It was like such a God moment. It's so cool that that was the moment that I got to start pushing. And then I pushed for about an hour and 15 minutes, and it's not over yet. So as I'm pushing her, you can hear the baby's heart rate. So like the monitor's next to me and it's like boom, 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 you know, and then as I'm pushing, her heart rate started being like boom, and like dead silence for like seconds that felt like hours, and then be like boom. They're getting on the phone, they put me on oxygen, and like when they get on the phone to like call like baby nurses and stuff like that, it's like usually more of an emergency kind of situation. And so, and I knew that they were like being super calm, but like I knew things were like not okay. So they just kept coaching me to like breathe oxygen down to your baby, Alex. Like breathe, give your baby as much oxygen as you possibly can right now.
6, 7, harder. Down, down, down. Yes, good. Quick breath. Come on. Down, down, down.
And they're moving my body side to side to like get her in a different position because she was struggling and not getting oxygen. And then my doula came and like got in my face, and it was, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was like exactly what I needed. Something about how like there's moments in your life you have to save your baby's life, something like that. And she's like, it's now, Alex, like you have to get her out now. And it was like everyone was like super emotional, and it was like very stressful and intense. And my midwife was like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I'm gonna have to cut you, and having an episiotomy is something no one wants, you know. And she's like, she has to come out right now, Alex. And I was like, okay. Like, I'm like, do whatever you have to do. So, oh my gosh, what is happening here? She's like, I promise it'll be a midwife episiotomy and not an OB episiotomy. Like, kind of saying like, it'll be like 2 little bird pecks. Like, I promise, like, I'm not gonna slit you completely open. I'm like, I don't care, just like do what you have to do. Hearing the scissors is interesting sound. But that happened, and then I'm just continuing to push, and I was like, I told her beforehand, like, I want to pull her out of me if at all possible. So got to the point where she was like, okay, reach down, grab your baby, Alex, grab your baby. And I was like, okay. I reached down and I got to literally pull her out of my body. It was so freaking cool. It was so cool. I highly recommend it.
Oh my god. All right, great. Grab down, honey. Come on. Here comes your baby. Push, push, push.
She's so big.
Look at that. Hey.
Hey, sweetie. Oh my god. Baby. You're good. You're good.
And she went on my chest, and one of the first things I remember is seeing her thumbnail, and her nail was super, super long. I just have that memory. And then she pooped on me on my chest, so the meconium came all out, all over me. And then she was not crying. Like, she was making sound, but she was not letting out that big cry that everyone like wants to hear. Make sure her lungs are clear. So I had also had a plan to delay the cord clamping until it stops pulsing for a lot of reasons. Look it up, it's really interesting. but they have like a third of their blood still like going through there. And my midwife again was like, I don't even have to ask them for that. That's what they typically do in their practice. And she was on my chest and she wasn't crying, and they're like, we got to get her off. We got to take her. So Clark ended up cutting the cord, but it was like they were trying to be like fast, and they brought her over, laying there looking over at her. Oh my God, my baby, she was supposed to be on my chest for the first several hours. She was in the latch right away. I wanted skin to skin right away for bonding and the hormones and all that stuff, and I didn't get that, so that was like super upsetting. But again, they had to work on her, so they're over there trying to clear her lungs out. I know, baby. So I told my mom, I was like, Mom, go over there, lay hands on her, and pray. Like, she has to be okay. We'd all gone through like so much at this point. And my mom went over there, laid hands on her, and prayed for her to breathe and for her lungs to be like clear and for her to let out a big cry. As soon as my mom came over to me, she let out a huge cry, and we were like, oh my God, praise God. It was really, really cool. God, I'm a mess right now. Awesome. Okay, I really didn't think I was gonna do this. Okay, so anyway, at this point, they had special nurses, like the Nicu nurses come in, the specialists. She's gonna have to go to the NICU if they can't get her to where they want her to be, and blah, blah, blah. She'll have to be in there for a few days. And I'm like, we've been in this hospital for 3 days. Like, are you kidding me? And then finally, she should be okay. She doesn't have to go into the NICU. So I was like, thank God. So finally, she was able to come over to me, lay on my chest, because my midwife was like, okay, guys, baby needs to be with mom. Baby needs to be with mom. We need skin to skin, guys. Like, come on, we need to regulate her. So I really appreciated. So finally, they got baby over to me, and she laid on my chest. And it was so, so sweet. And the most magical thing in the whole freaking world. I'm so happy, but I'm almost numb at this point. There's so many emotions and scary moments and all this stuff that had just happened over the last so many hours. You have that feeling after birth. It's okay. It's normal. Why do I feel like numb right now? At the same time, completely on cloud nine. It's a very weird feeling. For me, one of the reasons why I didn't want to have the medication and stuff is because it does block the oxytocin and like those happy hormones and like those bonding hormones and stuff like that. And it does reduce it. So it was something I really wanted to avoid. So I felt upset and kind of disappointed that I didn't get that like rush of like, oh my God, I'm on cloud nine and everything's perfect. But I was kind of just like, whew, like catching my breath through the whole thing. So that's just being real. And I will say, I did not poop during delivery. I know a lot of women fear that, which they've seen it all. If you do, it's not a big deal. No one cares. Literally, I did not, but like I know that they would not have cared. They literally are like, it's cool. So she was born at 7:57 Friday night. Yeah, we had been at the hospital for 3 days. I labored for 40 hours. What an experience. And then it wasn't over from there because she ended up getting jaundice and we had to be in the hospital all the way until Monday. So we were there from Wednesday to Monday, which originally I'm like, I'm gonna be in the hospital for like 24 hours, natural birth, blah, blah, blah. It's gonna be fine. No, that did not happen. Literally 6 days in the hospital, which I have another video that is us coming home from the hospital. So I'll go ahead and put that up here now. So no, it's not what I wanted. It's not what I expected. It's not what I planned for. I did get a healthy, beautiful, perfect baby out of it. I'm healthy, alive, and here to take care of her. That is the biggest blessing in the entire world. And at the same time, I have to process, I have to grieve that, I have to work through letting go of all of that. And again, like I have a lot of reasons for why I wanted what I wanted. And those are just, that could be a whole other conversation. Someone else who went through the same exact thing could have processed it completely differently. But I'm my own person, and I myself just need to work through healing from not only just the expectation, because that's not even like putting that aside, like putting expectation aside. I went through so much that I really feel like I needed the time to process and own my own birth story before sharing it. Okay, so my card is full on my camera because I rambled on for so long. So I'm just gonna use my phone to sum this all up. I appreciate you listening to this, and if there are any questions that you have, I'm happy to answer literally anything. I probably forgot a lot of things just because this was just a mouthful, let's be honest. I think we need to just give women grace as far as being a mom. But yeah, I just wanted to share my personal experience, and postpartum has been great, honestly. Like, I'm so grateful for that. So there's still more to the story, and like, I hope that you saw my heart through this and not just me wanting something and it didn't happen kind of a thing. Everyone has their own birth story, and women go through it. Women freaking go through it.